a stadium holding just 29,000 people in a city of 250,000. On the northwest coast of Spain, a place most football fans couldn't find on a map, facing them, AC Milan, the reigning Champions League holders, Kaká, Shevchenko, Pirlo, Maldini, Seedorf, the most expensively assembled squad in European football, and they needed just a draw. Because 2 weeks earlier, Milan had beaten Deportivo La Coruña 4-1 in Italy. The tie was over. Everyone knew it. Everyone except Deportivo. What happened next is still considered one of the greatest nights in Champions League history. A city of 250,000, La Coruña sits on the far northwest tip of Spain. Galicia, a region of green hills, Atlantic winds, and fishing villages. Not a football hotbed, not a city of wealth or glamour, just a port city, proud, hard-working, and completely overlooked by the Spanish football establishment. For most of their history, Deportivo La Coruña were exactly that, overlooked. Founded in 1906, they spent decades bouncing between Spain's first and second divisions. Never quite good enough to challenge, never quite bad enough to disappear, just there. Until 1991. That year, Deportivo were promoted to La Liga, and a transformation began that nobody outside Galicia could have predicted. A young coach named Arsenio Iglesias instilled something in the club that money alone cannot buy. A belief that they belonged. In their very first season back in the top flight, they finished runners-up. A club that had spent decades in obscurity, second in Spain. The football world raised an eyebrow and then forgot about them. That was a mistake. Through the 1990s, Deportivo built quietly. No superstar signings, no billionaire owner, no media attention, just a small club from a small city doing things properly. They developed their own players. They signed smart. They built a team, not a collection of individuals. Players like Juan Carlos Valerón, a technically gifted midfielder who could have played for any club in Spain. He chose Deportivo, because at Deportivo, he was loved. Diego Tristan, Fran, Mackay, Pandiani, names that never made global headlines, players who made a team extraordinary. In 2000, it happened. Deportivo La Coruña won La Liga. Not Barcelona, not Real Madrid. Deportivo La Coruña, a club from a city of 250,000 people, champions of Spain. The entire football world was stunned, but what came next in Europe was even more remarkable. In 5 consecutive Champions League campaigns from 2000 to 2004, Deportivo defeated Arsenal twice, Manchester United 3 times, Juventus 3 times, Bayern Munich twice, and Real Madrid on the 100th anniversary of Real Madrid's formation in Real Madrid's own stadium. Deportivo beat them to win the Copa del Rey in the Bernabeu on Real Madrid's centenary. This wasn't luck. This was a team that simply didn't believe they were supposed to lose. Deportivo took an early lead through Pandiani. Then Milan remembered who they were. Kaká equalized before halftime. After the break, Shevchenko put Milan ahead. 3 minutes later, Kaká again, 3-1. Then Pirlo, a dipping free kick, 4-1, 4 goals. Milan were ruthless. In the stands, Deportivo fans began the long journey home to Galicia. The tie was over. 2 weeks later, April 7th, Deportivo walked out at the Riazor Stadium. 29,000 fans, the loudest 29,000 people in Europe that night. 5 minutes, Pandiani headed Deportivo into the lead. The Riazor exploded. 34 minutes, Valerón, 2-0. 44 minutes, Luque, 3-0. At halftime, 3-0 to Deportivo, 4-4 on aggregate. The San Siro had been turned upside down in 44 minutes. In the second half, Milan pushed, desperate, panicked. 76 minutes, Fran stroked home via a deflection. 4-0. Deportivo La Coruña had beaten AC Milan 4-0. They had overturned a 3-goal deficit, becoming the first team in Champions League history to come back from 3 goals down in a first leg. The Riazer was shaking. In the press box, journalists sat in silence. Nobody had words. The semifinal awaited. FC Porto, managed by a young José Mourinho, stood between Deportivo and a Champions League final. The first leg in Portugal, 0-0. Deportivo were 90 minutes from the final. At the Riazor, a Mourinho-drilled Porto side defended with everything. 1 penalty, scored by Derlei, 1-0 to Porto. Deportivo were out. They stood on the pitch after the final whistle. 90 minutes from a Champions League final, Porto went on to win the tournament. Mourinho left for Chelsea, and Deportivo returned to Galicia, Champions League semi-finalists. Still, nobody talked about them. To compete with Barcelona and Real Madrid, to sign players like Mackay and Valeron, Deportivo had borrowed heavily. When the Champions League money stopped coming, when the results on the pitch began to decline, the debt remained. By 2006, Deportivo were struggling in La Liga. By 2008, the financial situation was critical. Players were sold, staff were cut. The academy that had produced their best talent was gutted. In 2011, Deportivo La Coruña were relegated to Segunda División, Spain's second division. The club that had beaten AC Milan 4-0, the club that had lifted La Liga, the club that had won in the Bernabeu on Real Madrid's centenary. Playing in the second division, by 2013, they were back in La Liga briefly. By 2018, relegated again. By 2020, dropped to the third tier of Spanish football. A club that had been ranked 5th in UEFA's European coefficient in 2004, playing in Spain's third division 16 years later. The debt had consumed everything, the glory gone, the players scattered. The city of 250,000 people left wondering what had happened to their extraordinary team. They have worked their way back up through the Spanish football pyramid. The Riazor Stadium, the same ground where 29,000 people made AC Milan shake, still stands, still filled with fans who remember. Valeron, who could have played anywhere, went into coaching. Fran became a club ambassador. The players who produced that miraculous night against Milan have never stopped being celebrated in the streets of La Coruña, because in a city of 250,000 people, that night is everything. Ask anyone in La Coruña about April 7, 2004. They will tell you exactly where they were, what they were wearing, who they were with, what they felt when Fran's shot hit the net. This is what football can do for a small city that the world overlooked. It can make them, for one extraordinary, impossible night, the most important place on earth. Champions League semi-finalists, La Liga champions, Copa del Rey winners, a city of 250,000 people. Football has never produced a story quite like it, and may never again. This was the story football never fully told you. Subscribe. There are more stories where this came from.